Look, I don't have to justify anything. I'm just saying, I was one of the only YouTubers defending Army of the Dead. That's a fun movie. I saw it in theaters with my best friend. That was a good time, and I'll defend it. What's up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to the channel. I finally saw Rebel Moon. There were no screenings near me, but after that first trailer, I was really excited for this movie, and I don't really call myself like a massive Snyder fan, but once I look at my list, I'm like, yeah, I think I like Snyder movies more than a lot of people. Did I like this one? Let's talk about it. When a peaceful settlement on the edge of a distant moon finds itself threatened by the armies of a tyrannical ruling force, a mysterious stranger living among its villagers becomes their best hope for survival. This one, is rated PG-13. There's sequences of strong violence, sexual assault, bloody images, language, sexual material, partial nudity. It feels like it's rated R based off that description, but we're not getting the R-rated cut until the distant future. Let's start there. I wonder what Zack Snyder's input is into this decision to release the PG-13 cut that's not as long, and apparently, and by watching the movie, absolutely doesn't include everything that's vital to telling this story, even though Zack Snyder came out and said, well, actually, it's kind of a different story because it's kind of a different movie, the R-rated cut, and I feel as if that cut is going to be better. And I'm not just saying that because, no, Zack Snyder cuts are always better, in my opinion. But to try to justify this film or the people involved knowing that there's another probably better cut left on the table that is R-rated, and why would you not release it on Netflix? Because Netflix releases R-rated movies all the time. My only justification for that is, well, yeah, they're going to get double the views. And because of that, they're going to make more money if there's two cuts of the movie. But I asked the question, why not just release the one that you think is better? Why not just release the one that has all of the story? I can't comprehend that decision. I don't know if it was Snyder's decision. I wouldn't think so. Why would it be?
Why?
That being said, let's talk about what works here. I wish I could have seen this on a big screen. I tried to make it as cinematic as possible, but I do believe the effects are really solid. Most of the sequences take place at night or in the darkness or on planets that aren't very bright, but that works in its favor because we get some really cool sequences. The one at the beginning when this empire of sorts and the outfits. I mean, look, these villainous entities have always been inspired by Nazis, but when you look at these outfits in this movie, you're like, yeah, this is a little more on the nose than the others. But when they're going after who feels to be our main character at the beginning on this planet, it makes for a very intense edge of your seat moment and sequence, and immediately you know this is not maybe what I expected. It's going to be dark. It's that Zack Snyder darkness that he often has, but it's going to push those limits of a PG-13, and I appreciate that. It also is showcased in some of the fight sequences, man, which are indeed really cool. I've seen the slow-mo complaint all over Twitter, and I get it, and it's really prominent in this movie. Zack Snyder, he loves to use his slow motion. It didn't really bother me as much, to be honest. After seeing all of the complaints and then watching the movie, I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's there, but it's Zack Snyder. What do you expect? That's everything I expected. And to see people who know Zack Snyder movies, whether you love them or hate them, go into this and expect something completely different, like this is his opportunity to grow as a this and that. Well, no, this is everything Zack Snyder always does, just under different circumstances and in a different setting. Now, because of that, I do believe there are moments and scenes, like I said, most of it within the action, but some moments of betrayal that I thought were pretty cool. Some performances that were maybe better than they felt on their surface at the beginning. Mikhail Hausman, he's always good. In this film, there's a subtlety to his character, especially at the beginning, and it feels like no one on the other side takes him seriously because, he's just the farmer guy that's at the beginning. He's trying to make a statement, but by the time you get to the end, there is a bit of growth and an arc there. Jaimon Hansu is always really good. Ed Skrein, right? Not Screen. The comments in my Maestro review, man. Gee, Frankenstein.
Calm down.
I like Sofia Boutella. I've seen the acting chops before. She's great during the action sequences. I didn't quite have that connection to her character. I don't know if that's as much her performance as it is the writing for her, but it feels like I'm at arm's length to all of the integral characters that we're dealing with. I responded more to the villainous side, not their ideals, not their beliefs, but just me being more engaged in what they're trying to do, because that for me was like, okay, that's interesting. Let's see where that goes in the next movie. But at the end of the day, man, I just didn't really care as much about the camaraderie and the characters and even the chemistry as the film wanted me to. Visually, it works. From a script standpoint, it doesn't really work, but I can't help in my brain, since, I enjoy Zack Snyder movies, I can't help but to think, man, what if we would have gotten the whole movie? Because it doesn't feel like a whole movie. Obviously, it's a part one. That's not what I'm talking about. It feels like there are moments that are supposed to be in between these scenes and sequences that are just fully removed. An R rating does not warrant fully removing character growth and development. It feels like, and I'm trying to avoid spoilers here, there are points where you're supposed to feel that connection between our characters, but in my brain I'm thinking, how did we get here? Because we spend our time in other places, and then we get to this moment between the two, and you're really supposed to feel that. And I didn't really feel it emotionally. Visually, really cool. And this big freaking grand final battle that we get that is awe-inspiring. And this is a big battle. I use the word grand. I'm not going to use that for the whole movie, right? Surprisingly more intimate and smaller scale. I mean, a lot of big things happening, but the focus of the film is smaller scale than I expected. That was a nice surprise. But the intimacy that we get with the scale and at times the visuals is not fully present with its story. Well, it's easy to say this is something we've seen 1,000 times before. We've seen Star Wars. We've seen countless sci-fi movies since Star Wars. We just got Dune, and now we're getting Dune Part 2. Honestly, I saw this trailer, and I'm like, man, Dune Part 2 could have some competition. But because it feels like we're missing so many moments, I just have that feeling that I'm watching a mishmash of recycled content that I could get in other places and feel more of a connection. And I know how this is going to go. I've seen the comments under other reviews. It's, you hate Zack Snyder. No, I don't. I love... What? I really wanted to love this. I enjoyed moments. It got me hooked at the beginning, but as we go from planet to planet and circumstance to circumstance and interaction to interaction, we even got that Anthony Hopkins voiceover at the beginning, and it gave me Transformers, what was it? Transformers The Last Night? It gave me those vibes. That's not a place where I want to be mentally. Thankfully, the movie's a lot better than that. I'm just saying. The build-up feels episodic, like it shouldn't be a movie. There's a lack of continuity to it all, where it just doesn't seamlessly come together. We're going from episode to episode. We may as well have faded to black at points in this film, and the ingenuity doesn't feel there to take content that we've seen before and to make it better. Within that structure, I believe there are opportunities to capitalize on what they did here, specifically the movement against this bigger entity and this family storyline that they've set up with Sofia Boutella's character. Maybe I'll respond to her more now that there's something there that they can work off of in Part 2, and I do believe Part 2 has potential, but again, I wish Part 1 delivered on that emotion that I felt in that first trailer. Maybe that's for the director's cut. Yeah, I'm disappointed. Before I give you my score, thanks so much for watching this video. How did you feel about Rebel Moon? Are you excited for Part 2 and or the director's cut? Rebel Moon fails to captivate through its admittedly impressive visuals, as the story feels like recycled ideas that never quite come together. I appreciate the surprisingly intimate feel, and there's plenty of potential here, but it can't overcome a lackluster script. Again, Army of the Dead, man. Where are my defenders at? What, was I the only one? Okay, thanks for watching. I'm working on my best Netflix movie of the year list. Expect that this weekend and a couple more reviews, man. It's a busy time. Merry Christmas.